I deleted my Reddit account. And it kept posting. Always at 3:12 a.m. I didn't start writing on Reddit because I wanted attention. That's the convenient lie people tell themselves when they need to justify a compulsion. I started writing because it was the only place I could unload a dark thought, and close the tab before it followed me to bed. At least, that's what I believed. I lived alone. Worked remotely. The kind of city built to be passed through, not lived in. When my workday ended, the silence inside the house felt heavier than it should have. The walls creaked as if adjusting to my presence. The air seemed too thick. Writing filled the space. I gravitated toward horror subreddits. People there understood fear that doesn't rely on jump scares. They understood the slow, creeping sensation that starts small and expands until it occupies the entire room. My early stories were simple. A man waving every night from the edge of a dark field. A voicemail that only played breathing when reversed. Contained details. No explanations. No clean endings. The responses were kind. Familiar usernames. Encouragement. Until I posted The Silent Neighbor. It was written in first person. A man whose neighbor stood outside every night, exactly where the porch light ended and the street began. Never moving. Never approaching. Never leaving. I offered no explanation. And it exploded. Front page. Thousands of upvotes. Private messages asking if it was real. I responded to a few. Just fiction. Atmosphere inspired. Nothing personal. I went to bed with that euphoric rush writers feel when they know they got it right. The next morning, there was a new comment. User. Deleted. Time. 3:12 a.m. He likes the dark between the porch light and the street. I read it twice. It didn't say, the neighbor. It didn't say, the character. Just he. I ignored it. The next night, another comment. 3:12 a.m. He can see you through the screen door. My stomach dropped in a way that felt irrational. It was just someone playing along. That was normal in those communities. But it continued. On a different story. 3:12 a.m. The typing stops when you hold your breath. I realized I was holding my breath when I read it. A pattern emerged. Always deleted. Always 3:12 a.m. Always a short sentence. Too specific. I started paying closer attention to my house. The refrigerator clicking on. Pipes shifting in the walls. A distant car passing. Nothing unusual. Still, I locked the doors more carefully. Checked the windows twice. 2 weeks later, I noticed something I wish I hadn't. In The Silent Neighbor, I had mentioned that the protagonist's house had a cracked third step on the porch. It was just narrative texture. The next morning, when I went outside to get the mail, I saw a fresh fracture in the third step of my own porch. Uneven. Recent. I touched the concrete. Cold. Solid. Real. I laughed. Too quickly. Because the alternative was unacceptable. That night, at 3:12 a.m., another comment appeared. Concrete shifts when the ground is disturbed. I didn't laugh that time. I began documenting everything. Screenshots. Dates. Exact timestamps. But when I went back to review them, something was different. A missing screenshot. A timestamp altered by an hour. A note in a blank document, written in my exact voice. He doesn't like when you check the windows twice. I wiped the drive. Changed passwords. Enabled two-factor authentication. Tested my carbon monoxide detector, just to rule out hallucination. Still, one afternoon, the bathroom window latch was open. It requires a specific motion to unlock. I know that because I always check. I sat on the edge of the tub and stared at the glass. My reflection felt slightly delayed, as if it wasn't perfectly aligned with my movements. I stopped writing fiction. Instead, I posted an analytical essay about the mechanics of fear. I argued that the unknown is more powerful than the explicit. The first comment appeared almost instantly. 3:12 a.m. We are not the unknown. I deleted my account that night. No announcement. No goodbye. The page refreshed. My name vanished. I felt hollow, like I had removed something vital. I went to bed early. At 3:12 a.m., I woke up. No specific sound. Just absolute certainty that the air in the house had changed. I stayed still. And listened. Slow, damp breathing pressed against the exterior siding of the house. Not footsteps. Something stationary. Breathing. The smell of wet earth seeped through the drywall. By morning, there were footprints in the front garden. Bare. Deep. Facing the house. The police asked routine questions. Stress. Substances. Enemies. They suggested cameras. I installed 3. Front yard. Back door. Side wall. I stayed awake monitoring the feeds on my phone. 3:11 a.m. Normal. 3:12 a.m. The front camera dissolved into static. When the image returned, a figure stood at the absolute edge of the frame. Exactly where the artificial light faded into darkness. Motionless. Unnaturally motionless. The timestamp flickered. The feed froze. The next morning, the app marked the footage from 3:12 to 3:20 as corrupted. I packed a bag and drove to a motel 2 cities away. Lights on. Door locked. Breathing controlled. I told myself distance would restore perspective. At 3:12 a.m., my phone vibrated. A new post. Published under my deleted username. The title. The writer who tried to leave. I opened it. The text described the motel room. The flickering neon sign outside. The industrial cleaner masking old tobacco. My unopened bag on the floor. It described my hand moving unconsciously toward the door latch. Then the narrative shifted. He is standing in the bathroom. Waiting for you to look up. The story ended mid-sentence. I didn't look. I left. I am typing this from a location I won't disclose. I don't name cities. I don't record dates. I don't look at clocks. I don't write fiction anymore. I document. Because whenever I stop typing, the air changes. It grows heavier. Like something is waiting for absolute silence. If you're reading this at 3:12 a.m. and the room feels slightly colder, if, for just a moment, you consider that this isn't just a story. This isn't paranoia. It's rhythm. And he knows you're here.